right, Matthew.
We are back.
This is episode number
21.
And we this is our second.
Does that mean we can start drinking on the show?
We probably should today. we have our perpetual employee of the month, Paul Hudson, working right there. Paul's waving.
Hello, everybody.
He's talking. Yeah, our satellite hookup wasn't working today.
We had a few ghosts in the machine, I guess.
We had to make Paul on screen. We had to take several tries at it to get the satellite to work, but it's working now.
But no one cares about that. They want to know, what is the guitar argument today? What is the issue at hand?
So the guitar argument today: Chinese versus American Telecaster magnets. Can you hear the difference? We're perhaps the only ones.
You might be right about that
are going to dare to do this comparison.
Are we the only ones who can?
We probably are the only ones that can. Yeah. So in the guitar argument, we will argue in the guitar argument over whether or not there is a difference. Is it important? And then we will prove yay or nay with a cool down in which we actually play two guitars one with American magnets, one with Chinese magnets.
So you can actually
it's going to be nuts.
People can just judge for themselves.
Yeah. Now,
with your own ears.
We do have, I guess, would it be a dog in this hunt? We use only USA made Alnico magnets, right? But we have we have the best USA made Alnico magnets against the best Chinese Alnico magnets, and we're serious about that. We got the best ones, and I talked to other pickup makers. I found out who is the big source for these in China, for the best pickup makers in the U.S., both small and large. Mm-hmm. And we ordered from them, and we'll talk about that in the guitar argument. Two guitars, same weight, two Fender Broadcaster 70th anniversary guitars, same weight, same pickups as far as the winding goes, made back to back. Only difference is the rod magnets. So that's the guitar argument. Okay, so
are we moving on?
We're going to move on.
Before we move on, I just want to tell people to stick around for the Matthew's Musical Musings, because I'm going to do a new segment today. It's called Matthew's Barn Finds.
Matthew's Barn Finds.
Literally stuff I found in a barn.
Oh. Okay.
So
is it guitar related?
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
it's
good.
Only guitar related.
You could find a lot of stuff in a barn you wouldn't want to put on the show, probably.
Yeah, but it's guitar related.
Okay.
But that'll be coming up.
Okay.
Later in the show.
Okay. All right. So.
But I think we want to move on.
But we got some throwback mail here, email for the throwback mailbox. And Matthew, I showed you the email, and you are going to distill this into the essential components that we can discuss.
Right. So here's
a very lengthy email, but it is pertinent to what throwback does. So we thought we should include it. Go ahead.
They must have written this right after they watched episode 20, because they wrote it on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the viewer is asking, paraphrasing the question, in Throwback's quest for vintage repro accuracy, are there any methods of manufacture or materials used that also recreate possible problematic flaws of vintage pickups? Yeah.
Okay. So I guess basically the question is, you're making a repro. And again, we claim that with all, how would you say it? With all authority able to be granted to a company such as ours, that we make the most accurate PAF, P90, Telecaster style, Fender or Stratocaster style pickups possible to be made today. And part of that is the USA made magnets, which we'll get into later. But the question is, for instance, with the PAF, I think this man was referring to, are there parts of the assembly that either material-wise or manufacturing-wise that we're duplicating that might have been problematic in the 50s, and we're so close to recreating a vintage reproduction that we're recreating the problems, and if so, what are they, and what are these? Is hypothetical in his question. Okay, so there is. I'll start by saying that our reproductions do have better quality control than a vintage PAF pickup. P90. Let's just, for the sake of this argument, we'll talk about PAFs and P90s because his question was related to these two. And two, they're more complicated assemblies than a Fender style pickup. So there in the history of repairing PAFs and P90s, there are problems that arise later on that are a result of not the best assembly in the beginning when they were made in the 50s.
Right.
But luckily we have Matthew here and Paul Hudson, and they are extremely meticulous when it comes to assembly, right, Matthew?
Exactly.
Okay.
We are.
Wait, Paul, can I say,
get
Paul?
Paul on.
Let's get you on there. Can you? Hello, Paul.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Are you? Will you back up that you are extremely meticulous with the assembly?
Yes, Matthew even has a brush that he wipes the screwdriver off after using it on the
So
It's
screws.
not every time.
it's
It gets
Are
a
you
little.
sure?
Okay.
It gets a little filings in there.
so there's a certain so much attention is paid to this that there might even be required future therapy for you,
Possibly.
Matthew.
I brought that brush.
in order to take care of your
That
hypervigilance
brush, in my
problem.
defense. Now that was I brought that in on my own.
I didn't
and
know
it was-
about this
And it was
brush.
not a used toothbrush. It was a brand new one. So it wasn't like it was.
It's a toothbrush.
It's a toothbrush, but I just
Okay.
use it to clean the.
I didn't even notice
the
it.
end of the Phillips screwdriver. Sometimes it gets the little filings from the brass screws.
Okay.
And then it starts slipping. So I just
Okay. Well, that's a good. See,
see.
that's it right there.
That
I
was
didn't even know
taking
about
the
this one.
initiative and just.
I think he's been keeping that hidden. He goes in a
No.
corner, wipes off.
No, it's right there.
Okay.
Keep it with the pens.
Okay, so we've got that. So there are problems that are inherent with some vintage pickups that are a result of this not the tightest adherence to quality control in the past, and that's just simply a matter of the assembly. Beyond that, there are a few variations in the components. Let's say of a PAF that can kind of cause a problem. They never seem to be very good about their keeper bar holes lining up with their base plates. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they make they are off enough that they kind of mess with the alignment of the outer high end low E pull screws. That is not a problem you have with ours because we, have tolerances that make sure that doesn't happen. That's another thing you might see with the vintage one that you don't see with ours. With the plating and buffing of covers, there are examples of vintage PAFs, many, where the high and low E pole screw holes in the cover was so aggressively buffed that they're kind of out of round. And that has happened with ours because we use the same process, but we usually cull those out as a flaw, but you will see that on a vintage one. So now and then, and we're watching that stuff closer than Gibson ever did in the 50s and 60s. So there's a couple of examples as far as that, but that's really paying attention to the process rather than there being some inherent flaw in the design. There is one exception to this, though. That Gibson addressed at some point with the P90. And this was explained to us by our plastic molder when he was doing the bobbin for us. vintage P90s through the 50s and part of the 60s have are prone to cracking. And interestingly, there are two versions of P90 bobbins from the 50s. We picked one of the two as far as for the mold we have, but when our plastic molder was deciding on material, I gave him a vintage bobbin, and what he did was he burnt it and smelled it. And he said, "Oh, that is general purpose styrene." And I said, "Okay, make the bobbins out of general purpose styrene." So he did a test run of them, and the first time we assembled them, they cracked. You could hear them cracking,
Just right off.
and I've repaired enough P90s to know that a very high percentage of them are cracked on the bottom. So anyway, they crack just like a vintage one. So I told her plastic molder, and he said, "Well, the solution to this is to use high impact styrene." So, which is what we use, and which is what Gibson figured out at some point. But that is a flaw that we rediscovered right early on after we had our mold made, that we quickly designed out of it by just changing the plastic, which Gibson did, I think, sometime in the 50s, because this is not with all P90s that this is a problem. But I think what Gibson did is they just used up. They identified the problem, but they didn't stop using the bobbins until they were gone. So they had a bit of both for a while. But the ones that are general purpose styrene have this flaw that we almost duplicated. We did on a test run, but we quickly we didn't send any out like that. But this was an idea for video that I may still do, and that is that Gibson broke your 50s P90 when they assembled it, because they did. Because I think almost 80% of the P90s that I've repaired for people, when you take them apart, the way the base plate is for a P90, it angles the vintage P90 and ours, it angles the magnets into the bobbin. And when it's assembled with that style base plate, it will make a cracking noise when you tighten the base plate screws. And that cracking noise is the bobbin cracking. And you'll see that on a vintage one. And you'll see it on the test ones we did before we switched to high impact styrene. So, as far as that is the only instance of that. As far as like butyrate, the smell, it's not an off-gassing problem because it's not a nitrate plastic. Butyrate smell is just the way butyrate is, and sometimes it has a deodorizer, and when it doesn't, it has that vomity smell that people love about vintage PAFs and ours. Yum, yum. Okay, so I think that's it for the throwback mailbox. Well, should we check in with Paul here?
Yeah.
Paul,
What is he up to? What is he
we're
winding
just checking
today?
in with
Yes.
you. We it took so long to get your satellite hookup going there. Well, I feel we must show you.
What machine is that? People will probably
no,
want to know.
yeah, we'll talk about that briefly. Paul is using the KZ 115 winder. This is a winder that came out of the Gibson factory. In fact, Les Paul himself was invited to the Gibson Kalamazoo factory before they moved to Nashville, and said, if there's any of this stuff we're not taking with us to Nashville that you want, you can take it. And he took that machine. He subsequently gave that machine. I don't think he ever used it because it was missing a bearing in the tailstock when we got it. But we bought this at auction from Guernsey's in New York, when a collection of Les Paul's old stuff was being auctioned off. Some guitars, some studio gear, but this was one of the things that he saved and ended up in the auction. And so the lineage is unquestionable for this. And we actually have photos too of this exact machine setup, machine model and setup at Gibson in the 50s. And so this is one of the things that we are the only ones on the planet that have.
We have a copy of, I think it's on the website too, the delivery information when that was delivered to.
Yeah, this was
Gibson.
purchased and delivered to Gibson in 1950, and we have the record of it. We did a video about this, but we have the shipping log for that. So, okay, Paul, we'll get back later to the show, and we'll tell you what Paul is making on that machine.
You'll see it in action, maybe.
And he's setting it up right there for some bobbins. So let's go on to the player grade vintage segment, Matthew.
Oh,
And this one is a little different. What we've done in the past is I have shown a guitar. Generally, I'll show a guitar and I'll play it. And these are guitars that are vintage guitars, but affordable. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're like, I'm guessing many of our viewers have this conundrum, and that is that they like guitars, but they like them well enough that they find it hard to say no to buying a guitar, right? Do you ever have that problem, Matthew? Sometimes?
sometimes.
I know
Yeah.
I have that problem sometimes. Well, I have a strategy to deal with that. And that is, it is a variation on the player grade vintage. And that is the unplayable grade vintage guitar.
Unplayable.
Unplayable. So the strategy here, should I just get the guitar, Matthew?
Well, no, maybe explain the strategy just a
Okay,
bit.
so the strategy is that you always have to have a project guitar that is not playable in order to suppress the urge to buy another guitar. So let me explain. You have the urge to purchase a guitar, and you think like, well, I don't really want to spend that money right now. I don't really have another desire to find another place to put a case. But I bet if I fix that, I've got that other guitar that needs to be fixed up. Maybe if I fix that up, this urge will go away. And it works. After you fix it up, it's like you've now rediscovered a guitar that wasn't there before, but you have to start with an unplayable grade vintage guitar.
Does it only work as long as you don't fix that guitar?
That's part of the strategy. You have to not fix it for a while, and then when you fix it, it's got to be extended out over months. Sometimes, so you can do this yourself, but sometimes you can do this involuntarily. It's an old story as old as the hills that you bring your vintage guitar to somebody to fix it, and they have it for months, sometimes years, right? So we really don't want to get that far into it. But if you've got it, and you work at it a little bit over the years or months, eventually you've got yourself a player grade vintage that you can convert the unplayable grade vintage to a player grade vintage. Okay, should we show the guitar?
Yes, let's see
this exciting guitar that is unplayable. All right, let me get it right now. Okay, this, Matthew, is an unplayable vintage guitar.
Let's see that.
Let's
full view
so
of it.
now, Matthew, can you with your knowledge of guitar, what we're looking at here for the podcast public that may not be watching this on YouTube is an SG with no pickups. Do you know the significance of this SG? And it's got the electronics in the back. There's no pickups in there.
Well, let's see.
It needs to be refretted. You need to have your microphone there, Matthew.
sorry.
Everybody needs to hear you.
Let me see. So let me see the front of it.
In front of it, yeah.
So is it a bat wing?
It is a Batwing. Yes, of course. It would be it's an SG. Yes.
And so it's probably from
It's chrome. The hardware's chrome.
So is it from the 1970s then?
It's a 1970. I believe this is 1970, and it has the little sort of volute hump there on the headstock. You can see that in your little shot there. Okay, so do you know? And it's got it says "Made in USA," and it has the serial number stamped. And do you know the significance of that, Matthew?
Well, I think this is this something that maybe Angus Young would have.
This is the, I believe it's a 1970 SG, and it has a headstock brake that was repaired by the previous owner, but which again fit it right into the player grade vintage. I got this many years ago. I think it was just over $1,000,
Really?
and it had all the parts. Headstock had been broken, and repaired well, and it really needs a refret. And the case, it has the original case, but this is the model that is apparently Angus Young's favorite one. That he's kind of had from the beginning, and he prefers this year. And our 70 Select pickup, we use the pickups in this as a guide for that set, because the very first T-tops, which our 70 Select is our version of a T-top, are patent sticker T-tops with short A2 magnets, and that's what was in this. And we use that as our kind of guide for that set. But this needs a refret, and then it will be playable. I just have not refretted it yet. And the kind of a cool thing about this is I don't know if it's cool, but it has the original case, and it has stencils on it from the band that had it before. It's a well-used case. Do you remember what the case said?
It's something to do with some Australian saying, or to say bush something.
It says bush rock.
Bush rock.
So I think some AC/DC tribute band guy. So this has got authentic AC/DC riffage through it.
It's just waiting to come out.
It's just waiting to come out. It just needs a refret. So
now, who's going to do the refret? Is that
I'll do it.
I'll
do it unless I. But this has served a purpose already, and not only for our pickups, but this has suppressed the urge to buy other guitars. You see,
can you attest that you have not purchased any other guitars since you've owned that?
It hasn't worked that well.
But how often do you think I got to do some work on that guitar?
I've thought about it. The problem is this is the problem with the unplayable grade vintage. If you get too many of them, then it's like it's this insurmountable obstacle.
Yeah.
Right. So I got another guitar that needs a refret too. So this is one of two that need refrets. The other one I think I showed, it was at Epiphone Casino with one pickup.
Oh, that needs a refret.
But I actually made progress on that. I had a guy fix the binding finish on it. Okay, so that's enough of the unplayable grade vintage, but hopefully that will help people out there in their quest to have player grade vintage, but also suppress their buying urge. You think?
I think you've disappointed a whole group of viewers because they really wanted to hear a guitar right now.
You won't hear this one yet. Oh, well, this will be more motivation for me to finish this.
So hang on, you have to use the other sound effect when you're putting that away now.
Oh, the disappointment?
Yes.
Let's see if I can find it.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That's a whole...
All right, let me get back to where I was here. It's messed up my system. Okay. Well, I'll put it away.
Well, now you've got pressure because now people are going to be asking about have you fixed up that guitar?
It's going to be nothing but questions about the 70 SG probably from now on. Okay. Now we're going to the guitar argument. Oh my!
It's
should we? Okay. Before we do this, should we set up sort of our role in the USA Magnet universe here, just briefly?
Sure.
Okay. And now the way I.
But don't give everything away.
Okay. So I will. We have an amp cam, and for the purposes of illustrating this, I have. Where's my note on that? I have. Well, you've got. Oh, well, you're moving a boxer, but okay. So I've got a camera here. Oh, that's Paul. Not him. No, not that.
Does it say amp cam?
It says amp cams here somewhere. Let me get back. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this right here is a rarity in the guitar universe. These are 4 boxes of Arnold USA made Alnico 2 bar magnets. This is the latest thing that we purchased. We got 9 varieties of the bar magnets. We got like 1, 2, 3. We got 3 varieties of the rod magnets for Fender style pickups, all USA made. Okay. And just to put it in perspective before we talk about this, and why this is, you will not hear people talk about this, is that those 4 boxes, and I will just put this in perspective as far as the cost and quantity of what you get for USA made and what you get for Chinese. Those 4 boxes this summer delivered shipped $18,689.12. Okay. Now I did the calculation on this, and with the same dollar amount for Chinese bar magnets, Alnico 2, you would get 55 boxes for that same amount of money. By my calculation, that's before tariffs. The current state of tariffs, I think it will get you 24 boxes.
24.
So now I may be, I'm kind of guessing at this a little bit because I don't know I'm guessing at what the additional price break would be. So I may be off plus or minus 5% for that box total. But needless to say, even with tariffs, the USA made stuff is freaking expensive, right? So that's why 99.9% of pickup makers, guitar manufacturers, use Chinese made magnets, right? And so even finding someone to do an A/B comparison like this or argue about it, I don't know if you're going to find anybody. In fact, we may be fools for doing it. Okay.
So you're saying the production cost of this video was like at least $19,000-$20,000.
That's right. Just to do this video. No, I mean, we use these. So, okay, Matthew, we're going to take 2 sides of this. And now, obviously, I'm the one, that made the decision about the USA made magnets, and have committed to that for years and years and years now. But we've got to take sides of this for the guitar argument.
Right.
And we have decided that I will take the side of Chinese magnets. And you will take the side, just because, I know both sides of this very well because
you've lived it.
I've lived it. I live it every time I have to write a check for those things. But, okay, so, and you're going to take the USA only way to go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Uncle Sam.
Okay, so are you going to start it?
I'll start, sure.
Okay, so this is 5 minutes, knockdown, drag out. Magnet talk. Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. Okay. USA magnets have the heritage and legacy of...
Speaking your microphone there, Matthew. Yeah.
USA magnets have the heritage and legacy of the sound that people associate with vintage instruments. So you've got, people have listened to these magnets on records, and they played these instruments, and there's a certain sound, clarity, openness, tone that they just associate that you get with these American-made, American-cast magnets.
If we're talking about a reproduction, I assume, because you're talking about classic sounds from classic pickups over the years.
Yeah, well, because you can hear it on record, so you know what those instruments that people were using. So you're hearing it all the time. You may not own, that vintage instrument, but you've listened to it in recordings. So you're associating a lot, when you're listening to the music, and then if you happen to get one of those instruments, or you can afford reproductions, you get to experience it, especially when it's coming through an amplifier. And you get to hear the openness and clarity.
What is the clarity?
So then you have the issue of consistency. So the U.S. suppliers, the materials are consistent. They've been made by the same. You know this better than I do, but the same manufacturers and they have the same melt record, and they can go back and say this is how they were made in the 50s.
So if you're
and
looking
70s.
for the authentic product, you don't take a substitute.
Right.
That's your okay. Is there more?
You go ahead. I don't want to suck up all the time.
So your argument is that you're looking for the vintage article. The vintage article to reproduce it. It's not a mystery who made them, and if they're still around, when we're talking about magnets, you get them made by the same place, right? Well, what if I were to tell you that there is nothing unique about a magnet beyond its components or component elements, and this is a process that's been around for going close to 100 years now, and that there's nothing geographically about the where they're made that would make a difference about which you choose to put in a pickup, and that perhaps that people are getting too much hung up on the sort of patriotic aspect, or trying to angle that in a way to support their argument for overpaying for a magnet. I'm thinking, like, why am I doing this? I'm shelling out all that money for those magnets. Okay, but I've done this.
What about the argument of what goes into that magnet?
I may stop using USA made. I may talk myself out of it.
You've done it already. What if you knew? Do you know exactly what's going into those Chinese made magnets, material wise?
Well, they say they actually don't tell me. No, they don't say, but so Allen & Co. is it comes in grades. Those standards for those grades are known, and at some point, no matter who you do anything for you, you have to take on some level of faith that you're getting what you're buying. Mm-hmm. And should anybody let the geographic location of where that stuff's made play a role in as far as not buying something? And I don't think that that's necessarily fair to have that attitude about it. No, I'm playing a role. So but if you can get the same grade overseas, and you can get it in the USA, you're running a business. The overriding purpose of a business is to make a profit while serving your customers, and if you can serve your customers with a more economical product, why wouldn't you do it?
That's a good argument, but are you getting the consistency? That's the question.
That is a good question.
And do they sound different?
I'm waiting for this thing we got 5 seconds. We'll find out. We'll find out if they're different. Okay. Whew. Sweating that one. Okay. Well, so
this could be the end of Throwback. Is that what you're saying?
Let's go to the cool down phase. Okay. So, now we're going to play a couple of guitars here, and should we talk about this before we play them?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, we have been using USA Made for since for USA Made Allen & Co. It's 2008, I think when they were all. It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. It's been we're assimilated. And one reason we did this right now is that this is creating a problem. The tariff is because this is tariff related at this point. The extra cost of the tariffs are creating a problem with across the guitar industry, but for pickup makers as well, and because I'll just explain it this way. For us to get, it's not affected us, and it's for a couple of reasons. For we have all USA made parts, but part of having all USA made parts is we have to order quantities that that in the thousands. A lot of smaller pickup makers, and I would assume manufacturers. Well, they can do just in time manufacturing for things like magnets, and the magnets I ordered for this comparison, I ordered from the best Chinese magnet maker, and check this out with people that I know. And the experience ordering them was easy as pie. They came from China. Had a good salesperson to talk to. I wasn't required to order thousands of parts. I got a very good price for I think I ordered 200 or 300 parts.
I think that's right.
And I have to order thousands of. These are for rod magnets. Here we're going to do. The reason I'm doing a Fender Telecaster bridge pickup is that the magnet is the pickup is so simply made that you basically have wire, rod magnets, and a base plate, right? There aren't these other components and sort of idiosyncrasies to the assembly and other metal pieces in there that are affecting the tone of the pickup that you might have in a PAF or P90. So this is the purest magnet test I could come up with. But the experience of buying them was great. And what showed up was well-packed magnets that appeared, good, but they were cheap compared to the U.S. stuff. And we switched to U.S. Years and years ago because the consistency coming out of what we were using from China was just terrible. And after the second batch of magnets that would not hold a charge, I was like, screw it. I'm going to try the USA made, and because I get to talk to someone. Well, I think a lot of that problem, I don't know that you'd have that. I don't think you'd have that problem with the place that I ordered these from, because they have catered to pickup makers, large and small now, for quite a bit of time. But you do have this huge difference in price. And so the question is it just a difference in price, or is it a difference in what you're getting? And does that translate into a difference in material specs, and therefore also a sonic difference? Do you need to add anything to this?
No, you got it covered.
Okay, so we're we're going to do a test here. We're going to play two broadcaster reissues. What year did these come out?
I think these came out in just before COVID, so I think it was January of 2020 because it was the 70th anniversary.
Yeah.
So
same weight for both of these guitars, and pickups, same spool of wire, same winding pattern, same everything except rod magnets different. These are no caster A3 Classic pickups. Again, we use USA made Alnico 3 magnets, and we ordered not USA made. We ordered Chinese made for the comparison. They both charge the same. But interestingly, they have two different inductance readings. But we'll get into that after we play them a little bit. Okay, so let's get the guitars, and we will be right back. Okay, we're back. We'll show the guitars here. This is mine. I'm playing the USA made one, magnets. And Matthew, let's see. Yours says Rorschach riffs, but I didn't change the graphic. But we know what's going on. That's you with the Chinese magnet broadcaster pickup, and or not, no caster. Yeah, and the guitars are both 7 pounds 6 ounces. If that matters to anybody, they're really nice. These guitars. Okay, so we will play clean, and I'm going to switch between here, and we'll see if there are differences to be heard. Okay,
Right.
I will play a G, Matthew, and we're going to make sure we're picking the same location here. Matthew, I'm going to pick strum right between the bridge and the middle pickup.
Okay.
Would you do the same? We both have the same pick. This is a gray Cool Picks 1 millimeter pick. I just like these.
Yes, 1 millimeter.
Well, it says 1, so I'm assuming that's
Yeah, it's
millimeter.
1.2, is that
Okay, so this is USA. This is
You
USA,
first.
and I will cue you, Matthew, in to strum this sort of Beatle G. That is USA made. Okay, Matthew, it's your turn.
Okay, these are the Chinese magnets.
Yes.
We're listening just in the bridge.
Okay, let's go back to the USA made. Oh, hold on. Back to you, Matthew.
Get back to the Chinese.
Okay. Let's try a D. This is USA. Okay, Matthew, let's go to you.
Are the Chinese magnets?
Okay, let's now do AC. The history of this is last night we did this and we're like, wow, it's a big difference. And now we have assimilated to this that we've kind of determined we're probably able to change our pick attack to cover the difference. Sort of. I don't know.
I'm hearing a difference.
Okay. Let's
They're just
let's
not
see.
as.
Okay, let's try a C here.
See,
That's USA made. No, Matthew.
these are Chinese.
Chinese?
See,
Okay, let me go back to USA made. Okay, so I will. I think you hear it here. So our experience last night when doing this was that there is a little more sparkle to the USA made one. So, and I think I'm hearing it with this C. It's sort of a little treble sparkle, and that the Chinese is a little less output and a little duller on the treble. That's USA made. Okay, Matthew, give it a shot here. Okay. I think that is the one. Oh, I tried again. I didn't have you on the.
oh, here we go.
Okay, back to USA. Oh, I gotta actually switch it to me, don't I? Okay. Now, should I do my should we? Is there anything to say?
Just we should play a little bit back and forth.
Okay. So, you Matthew, play something, and I will try to mimic it. You just do your thing. Matthew with Chinese Magus. You're playing a C, and you're playing a G. I will do it. That's me with USA Made Magnets. Can you do something with this, Matthew, to get the... With the C? No, Matthew with the... Okay, well, I'll try.
What happened there?
That's USA. Okay, let me play my Nashville little lick here, and let's see if there's anything you can hear from that. And then should we be done with it after that?
Sure.
Okay. Well, let's try a little dirty.
Well, hang on. Let me redeem myself. 'Cause I think that the D sound on the.
You think you can hear it in the D?
Yes, and I
So, okay, this is
messed up that
Chinese
chord
again.
because I've got this mic
All
in my
right.
face. Hang on one second.
Okay.
I'll blame it on the mic.
Okay, that's the Chinese. I'll try here with the USA Made. That's USA Made. Okay, you want to do it one more time, Matthew?
Sure.
This is USA Made it now. That before that was changed. Should we put a little? Let me see.
Oh, we didn't do any dirt. Yeah.
Let's try dirt here. Okay, Matthew, I'll let you play something. I'll just do something similar. That's Chinese. Okay, let me try it. By the way, this is USA Made. Okay. All right. One last one. I will do the
Nashville lick.
yes, and then we'll be done with this whole deal here. Let me try it here. I always screw this one up, but let's give it a shot. Oh, this is a USA Made. Then Matthew, you just hand me your guitar,
Sure.
and I will do the Chinese Made. Yeah, again, USA Made here. Hold on. All right, Matthew, give me your guitar there. I'll just plug it right back in here. All right, this will be Chinese. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
To me, it seemed like it was lower output,
I think it is.
and it's a little less trebly. It's not bad. It's definitely different, though. Let me do it one more time, and then I'm going to go back to the USA Made.
Okay.
Okay.
And I should mention that you did your best to set these up exactly the same. so-
they're exact same distance from the strings for the pickup,
We measured
action, all that.
Yeah, we measured ahead of time.
In fact, well, here, let me just play this real quick. This is a USA Now. This definitely has more treble.
yeah.
Okay, and I went as far with this too as we tested this last night, and we thought, like, is the volume pot on the Chinese the Nocaster with the Chinese pickup was cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, for this to be a fair comparison, I need to make sure there's nothing up with the volume pot. So I replaced the volume pot, and I measured the volume pot on it, and this is 6K higher than the one that was in there. So it's got a little more treble than the volume pot that was in there before, and also there's a little variation with string angle with all these, with any guitar. The saddles, to get the same action, are a little higher in the Chinese ones, which would actually add a little treble to it because of a little bit of higher break angle. So the Chinese one actually has going for it that it should be a little bit more treble dominant, if there's any variable to be had there that would count for any difference, and it's still a bit darker. Mm-hmm. But I think we both determined when we're playing them, you can kind of adjust your pick attack to even it out. But there is a difference. But is it crazy big?
It's subtle, but I think it's definitely there, especially you hear it when you're playing clean, less so when you have a little bit of overdrive.
Yeah, I think it's a little less attack with the Chinese.
And then when you're doing some of those
Magnets.
runs, there's a little less note clarity, I think, with the Chinese magnets on some of the...
I think is a little bit more, the way I would describe it was sort of sparkle and just a little more treble pop to it with the USA Made. Okay, then that is it. Let's put these away, and then we will come back with the guitar argument. Is there more to say about this?
No, I don't. No, we're going to go on to...
I guess I will say that the
you need a guitar for that.
yeah, I'll get that.
Oh, you've got a special one?
I've got it's related to what Paul's doing right now.
Oh,
So but the fact that there's, even with tariffs, there's still this crazy price disparity. I think it's unlikely that you're going to get people like going nuts, deciding like, oh, that's it, I'm going to get USA Made, because even with tariffs, it's this amazing difference as far as price. But again, our feeling with it is, if we're making a repro, if the original article is available in the U.S., we're going to get it, and we've done that for decades now. So and This is the other thing. I wrote this down because a part of this was I tested the inductance of the pickups between the two. And I have been told that the Chinese magnets, one reason they're significantly cheaper is that they use iron as a filler material. Alnico is supposed to be aluminum, nickel, cobalt. Iron's not supposed to be part of that, as far as I'm aware, unless it's in sort of very small amounts. But that one way that you keep the cost down is to use iron as a filler material. So any sort of difference in metal mix would show up in an inductance reading between the two. So assuming all the other parts are the same as wire and the plate, which they were for these two comparisons. So this is the difference with an inductance reading at 1 kilohertz. The USA made Arnold magnets are 6% higher, which I think than the Chinese, which I think accounts for that extra sparkle that you get from it. And at 120 hertz, the USA is 4% lower. So than the Chinese. And I think that's one reason that the low end is a little bit. You've actually got more treble content, I think, in the low end because of that difference in inductance. So it's subtle, but so could you equate to? I don't know if you can equate to the two being different as far as a percentage in tone, but those are the numbers that kind of call out a difference in metal mix between these two. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's get to the Rorschach riffs. And Matthew, I'm going to do that this week.
I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so we'll be right back with that.
I get to guess.
Okay, Matthew. We're back and we're going to Rorschach riffs. And I'm going to give you a break this episode from Rorschach riffs. And I will do it.
You've had some riffs in your head you wanted to get off.
Yes, and now too, I'm going to show Paul here because the pickups in this guitar, these are the pickups that we have not released yet, but that we are teasing the audience with in little bits at a time. And Paul is in the process of making the Paul. We are showing you now. You're taping a bobbin.
Everybody.
You're you're very excitedly taping a bobbin. So the pickups in this guitar, he is winding the screw bobbin for this set
right
on the KZ115 winder. And I will give some information about what this set is terms and how it's unique from the other pickups the Throwback offers. So this set in this guitar is modeled after 57 spec, and they early on Gibson was kind of changing their production to accommodate from P90s to now this new humbucker model, and they were adapting their P90 production to PAF. And part of that was some of the pickups from that era have one coil wound on the KZ winder, which started out as a P90 winder, and another coil wound on the Slug 101 winder, which is a winding machine that they adapted to do. Gibson adapted to do PAF slug coils. So this set has the screw bobbin coil wound on the KZ115 and the slug coil wound on the Slug 101 machine. And both of these machines are not auto stop machines, auto stop counters. So we're doing them to 5,000 turn count, where specific turn count. Bridge is just going to be 5,000 turns each bobbin. The closest we can reasonably get it to stop on the 5,000 turns. But the interesting part of not only the turn count variable with not being auto stop is that since they're done on different machines, they have have two different winding patterns that inherently make a coil offset just because of those two winding machines, even though they both get same turn count. There's nobody else who's got a set like this and it will be able to duplicate it because both of these machines are unique to us. And we have not yet offered a set with those two machines, with both bobbins from both those machines in one pickup. This will be the first and probably the only version that will do that, but it's super unique to us. So I will be using that. More details about that in the future. And the other thing is he is making those right now because there is one of our customers.
Dealers.
Dealer, yes. Zach Broyles for high voltage guitars
In Nashville.
They're doing some sort of shindig.
On Saturday, October the 11th, I believe they're celebrating their first anniversary of the store in Nashville, and they're going to have some sort of an open house, and we're going to send down a pair of these
So
Steelhead 57.
that's the they're not on the website yet, but we're calling them 57 Steelhead pickups because we are going to be using have a line of these for each year of the PAF era and all of them only use steel bobbin mounting screws.
Right.
And in true throwback fashion, we actually have two steel bobbin mounting screw versions. We have one. This will get a steel bobbin mounting screw that is stainless steel, but slightly magnetic because some of them were stainless steel. And but we've got two versions of those. We will work it into these different models, but we're going to start with 57 Steelhead model. And the whole steel bobbin mounting screw thing is sort of this random appearance in every year of the PAF era. And we've had enough repairs come through that I've come up with specs that I think are going to be unique that combine that sort of slight variation that the steel bobbin mounting screws do, combined with those repair specs and have something unique for each model year that we feel is kind of a good representation of each, because we get questions about, we want I'd like a 57 set. So this will be our answer to that. All right, so the Rorschach riffs, Matthew.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah. Now go over the rules if people don't know them.
I will be doing this episode. I will be doing 4 riffs from 4 different recognizable songs.
Okay.
At least I hope so.
These are all like polka classics from Chicago.
Sure. Yeah. So I think these ought to be. Now I'm going to put these out in the smallest identifiable.
Oh, one note. I have to get
no,
it.
I think I'm putting these out in the smallest identifiable riff length that I think should make them identifiable. I will expand upon that
if needed.
Okay. Okay.
I will listen intently.
I'm getting kind of.
You getting nervous?
I'm getting nervous
Your
here.
hands probably. My hands always start sweating about this time out of nowhere.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes. Go ahead.
All right. Wait. I got to think about what I do here. Okay. One more time.
Dang. you did some work on that one.
Okay, don't say it yet.
No, I won't.
Just tell me if you want me to repeat it. Paul, let's see if Paul, are you playing, Paul?
Do you get any
Paul?
of that, Paul?
I'm listening.
Okay, I want you to see these. Some of these maybe you can identify, but you play along. Don't say anything.
That
Just
sounded familiar.
Yeah,
okay.
they did.
okay. All right. Well, let me let's get back to that. Okay, tell me if you want the whole deal again.
Yeah, let's do the whole deal again.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it again because I have flubbed it. I keep messing up the articulation there. I feel like
I know
should do it again.
it's. Hang on. Let me write some down. First, I was on to somebody else, but then I think I know. I don't think I'm going to get all these. I thought, I'll get them, but
Well, I can expand upon it. Want me to do one more?
yeah, do one more.
Okay, hold on, Paul. Don't tell anybody. But is there anything? Or do you have a hint at any of these?
No.
All right.
Okay.
He's not a guitar player. He's
But
just barely hanging on.
He's listening to enough music.
Okay. I'll do it one more time. This time I will try my best to make
Okay,
these
so
flow
do
together.
it the first length. Yeah, the first one I'm pretty satisfied with.
Okay.
But if go give us the
Second one?
second version.
I've expanded it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've got that one.
Okay. Don't let the viewers see your.
My-
Okay. So do you want? Should I do the whole thing again?
Can you do the whole thing with just make them a little bit longer?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. That's the first one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's enough.
Okay. The third.
Third, please. That one I'm not sure about. I know it's probably some classic rock thing, but I can't.
Okay. Do you want the last one?
Do the last one. That's all I get? Is it just that one quarter?
That should be enough.
Really? Don't read that last.
Nothing?
It's not ringing a bell. It sounds like a couple of different things, but I don't know if it's
Okay, well, but let's see if Paul. Let's Paul.
Let's see if Paul's
Paul,
got
any of those sound familiar? Well, I'll go through them. Okay, what does
Is
this
there
sound
more than one?
Yeah. This okay? Can you identify this one?
Yes.
Boy, I'm flubbing up the. Yeah. Okay, you know that one. All right.
You did it better that time than the other times, I think.
Okay. Okay. How about this? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. How about this?
How about that?
I bet your wife knows that.
She
that's
probably
four.
knows all of
What was
them,
three?
yes.
3 is. Hold on.
I just don't know. You're gonna tell me, and I'm gonna go, okay.
I think I know this one. too.
Okay. All right. Well, let's.
The
Okay.
3 and 4.
Okay. Well,
not ringing a bell.
Matthew, you give me what you think is going on.
Okay, so I think the first one is the Eagles' "Life in the Fast Lane,"
Yes, that's correct.
and then is the second one, is it Voodoo Child or is it
Yes.
Jimi Hendrix? Okay, the 3 and 4, I am like at a loss.
Okay.
Does Paul know? Does Paul have any clues?
Paul, do you have?
I can't name them by name, just that first one.
Okay.
But
All
Matthew,
right. What?
I already said the name, and I think
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's. Okay. Do you want me some hints with
yeah, give us a
famous guitar player sometimes plays a double neck guitar.
So are we talking Jimi Hendrix, or are we talking Alex Lifeson, or are we talking?
Not Jimi Hendrix.
I mean, not Jimmy Page. Sorry.
Yes.
So it's a Led Zeppelin song, and then
Yes.
Is it? Is it from like Houses of the Holy or,
No, I don't even remember what it's.
Graffiti?
Okay. Okay. So
I
that's.
don't know.
I'm probably playing this a little wrong.
Give me some hints on that. Like what's the history of that one?
One of the we make a set that I have to wind.
Oh, this is you're trying to do
I have
All
to
Right
wind
Now, Paul Kossoff?
a specific bobbin with 4-bar wire.
All Right Now, right?
Yes,
Paul Kossoff?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, you got it.
You got to do that. Yeah. Okay.
See, I don't really know how. I mean, it's kind of the whole technique thing there.
So Paul Kossoff.
Okay, so this is it "Squeeze My Lemon" by Led Zeppelin?
Is there a certain Led Zeppelin, like Physical Graffiti and Presence and that stuff? Is that from one of those records? I know 1, 2, 4.
Okay,
And I don't know all my Led Zeppelins.
All right, well,
I didn't do my homework.
that's it. It's everything right there.
Go back up to the regular and hold the.
Okay, hold on. Let me get to the.
Here, so I just want. I don't think we finished telling. So, if you're in the Nashville area on October the
Yes.
11th, and you go to High Voltage Guitars to their 1-year anniversary, you'll have a chance to win a set of these because we're going to
Yes.
send them down, and they're going to give them away on Saturday.
Free and
That's a
well,
good
not
deal.
only the last song was free
yeah,
in the Rorschach
oh, it was
riffs.
free. Sorry, free.
These
Paul
are
Kossoff.
these are going to be free as well.
I was thinking Bad Company, but you're right. It's free.
Okay.
So you may get a very early set.
It's true.
They're not available on the website yet. So they only exist in this guitar, I think, right now.
Okay.
And whatever Paul makes.
All right. Okay, Matthew, we're going to go on to your music.
Oh, my music.
Let me put the guitar away here.
Go ahead.
You set up. We'll just keep going. I'll do
Okay.
a drum roll here. Okay, so what's in the musical musing category here, Matthew?
Well, I wanted to give people an update. We heard back from the architects
For the guitar.
for the guitar. Now, the
right.
guitar, if people don't know, is this repository that's going to be built.
It's
God
going to be
willing,
built.
with all your donations of equipment and
It's going to
and
take
cash.
divine intervention. I can see if you're.
Well, I have a meeting. I'm going to meet with some of the local billionaires.
Is this a virtual meeting?
No. I'm going to go. I'm going to be stalking their houses. So
Okay.
in Grand Rapids, you hit the Van Andels or the DeVosses or
That's right.
Sekias.
You just got to find the one that plays guitar.
You find them on an interesting guitar, and then they'll show them this, and they'll say, "I got to be in on the ground floor of this." So we have a preliminary drawing. If you okay, so
Okay, I put that over your bass because I couldn't figure out how
That's
to change
fine.
background quick enough. But
so this is the idea of.
these are your crayon drawings. No,
Are you making fun of these? This is art. This is using the earth and man's ability to come up with something greater than
this will
ourselves.
be like sort of in like 5,000 years, people will wonder what is the meaning
What's
of
that
this.
mound
Maybe those mounds.
south of here?
Maybe there's guitars in those.
I didn't think of that until just now, did you? But there are mounds along the Grand River that are all protected by the World Heritage Association. But this is an idea of where we would build this into the earth, and we thought it'd be fun if we started off with the idea of maybe we'll make it look like a guitar. So if there is a
by
catastrophe,
we, you mean you?
I mean me. So this is my.
I had no part of this.
I know. So you have to give me your impression. Do you think this is we should go this way, or should we do something? Is this impractical? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
It looks either it looks either somewhat pornographic or I can't quite picture it.
Well, you'll need to work on that.
Yeah. Well, this is just a start, so we're good.
Guitar.
Guitar.
Did it get 6 strings for the guitar? Is that a 5-string guitar?
You can't get good help anymore. That's what I'm saying.
It's a 5-string guitar, Matthew.
Well, that was Keith Richards. He was going to give us the 5 strings. Yeah,
it was his input. Okay.
So anyway, I just want to give people a little update on that,
Okay.
just so we haven't forgotten about it. So,
Okay,
because
okay.
we hadn't heard back
Yes.
from the architects. But
All right.
anyway, so I wanted to do a little segment on this musical music. It's called Matt's Barn Finds.
Okay, that's right. You brought in a box here that I could not look in.
I wanted to show this to you. You may or may not be aware of this, but I thought this thing was lost, and then I had to go to my parents' place, and we were cleaning some stuff out, and my brother said we were in the barn putting furniture away for the winter, and he said, if there's anything in that room that you want, just take it. And I was like, oh, I don't care about it. You can pitch it. So I thought, well, maybe I should take a look. So I went through.
And you found a vintage Les Paul Burst.
Just sitting out in the barn.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was there. No, unfortunately, it wasn't a vintage guitar that I could show everybody. But I found this little interesting thing, and then I could.
Okay.
Oh, let me go get it for you.
All right.
Maybe a big drum roll.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Should I get ready for the disappointing trombone?
Yeah, let's get the trombone up too.
Oh, you've got a. Well, let's see. Are you going to hold it up for the world to see, or
Can
should
people
I
see it? Yeah, maybe.
It's a speaker.
Should I hold it up? It's my.
You found a speaker in a barn.
I took this out of my funny little. I believe it's a Ram student amplifier made by Garnett in Winnipeg, and but this speaker came from Long and McQuaid in Toronto. I bought this in the early '80s.
You bought a Fender speaker there?
I bought it. It was sold to me as a reconed speaker.
Let's see.
Let me hold it back up. And then it has the date codes on it, but it has the silver face, silver panel sort of era sticker on it, and it's a 12-inch, speaker. But the codes on it, I thought this was interesting. I don't know if I can show people the codes. So if you don't know about your codes, you can show. So there's codes down at the bottom there. Can I show them?
Yeah.
And then, so the code is, the first is 005379. I believe that it must be the model number because I found that on various.
Is this an Oxford? It looks sort of like an Oxford speaker.
It is not an Oxford.
Is it a CTS speaker?
It is not a CTS.
What is it?
So 328 is a Utah.
It's a Utah. Okay.
And then it's 601. So 6 is the year. And so by my calculation, that must mean, because it's a silver, the 6 must be 76.
Okay.
And 01 is the first week. So, because they said that they really weren't making these till mid 67.
What would that have been in, like a basement or something? It's a pretty hefty magnet on there.
That's a good question.
Basement or Pro Reverb?
I don't know. Because, I literally went to the counter and
they just had it.
I said, I was looking for a speaker I could put in my, because when I got my funny little Ram amplifier, it's a little probably 12 or 15 watt amplifier. There was no speaker in it. I bought it. My brother actually got it at an auction at the school. They were selling some old equipment. It had no speaker in it, so we went into Toronto and bought this, and it was sold to me as like reconed. So I don't know if you can tell if it's been. Is any telltale signs?
I'm not an expert on that. It has the seam in the cone, which I would assume you'd see in an older cone. So maybe it was reconed with an original kit.
That's
I don't know. I would assume it's reconed if they said it was, but it looks like maybe it was reconed with an original kit.
But I just started looking for it. I just started looking for this at home about a year ago because I thought it was in a different part of the house, but it was out in the barn, and I think it's been there for a while. But I took this out of the that amplifier about 21 years ago, I think,
and you rediscovered it.
I rediscovered it, so I might put it back in that funny thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just put an Alnico speaker in that unit, which has been in there for a long time. So, but the newspaper that I wrapped this in was from April 2004. So
Okay.
So you never know what's out in the barn.
Yeah, you never. Well, it's a good find.
Yeah.
All right. Is there more? I'm not the. That's nice and that's exciting.
I have
I'm not disparaging,
and I can report on this later. But on my other musical musings, it hasn't happened yet. So on Saturday, I'm going to go to Michigan Stadium at the University of Michigan, and Zach Bryan.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. Yeah.
Is going to play, and it will be. They say when it's all said and done, I think it's going to happen. Weather's supposed to be good. It'll be the largest concert in the history of the state of Michigan.
Because it's such a. How many people can sit there? Is it over 100,000 at this point, or no?
Yeah, for a football game, their attendance is usually 110,000 plus.
Okay.
So, and there's going to be. So there's going to be more than that. I don't know how they're going to.
People on the field?
I assume there's got to be people on the field because, those are probably the primo seats because you can. And I have no clue how they're going to set it up. I know he's played. In early September, he played at the University of Notre Dame, but I've avoided watching any video because I just want to just walk in and see how they do the whole show. So it's going to be Zach Bryan, John Mayer, Ryan, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Darn, I'm forgetting his name. But there's 4 acts total. So
oh wow,
starts at 6, and I think it'll probably go to about 10:30 or so.
Wow.
So that'll be interesting.
All right, we have that to look forward
I'll
to
give you a
with your
report
musical
on it.
musings.
Yeah.
Okay, should we check Paul?
To see what's going on.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Let's, should we allow you to do the outro here? Hold on. Let me Paul, the music creeping up means one thing. Is there more?
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Is there more? Where should we be saying here?
I don't know. Is there missing?
I think we got everything.
Let's go over.
I think you got everything.
Paul wants to go home.
Paul's had enough.
Well, you were an essential part to the whole production here, Paul, and pre-production.
Yes, I hope so.
You look excited there with all you're doing. Yes.
Oh, yes. This is very exciting taping these up.
Okay.
It's not the boredom that comes along with I'm finally wound.
Don't bring your.
that.
Listen, they want to know that pure excitement goes into every pickup. Okay. All right.
All right, everybody.
Oh,
Thanks
hold
for
on.
listening.
Let's. I gotta push some buttons here. Let's see. Okay.
Now you go to the.
I gotta go right there.
There we go.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for
Have a good
watching,
weekend.
everybody.
Oh, there he is.